Once upon a time, there was a very wealthy businessman by the name of Philip Glass III. He was the most well-known and well-respected man in town. Philip owned one of the most powerful businesses in town as well. And on a day like any other, he woke up, got ready for work, and without knowing what his life was about to change. When Philip arrived to Glass Enterprises, he ran into his friend Gaston Hunter. Gaston starts telling him about this beautiful girl he saw earlier during the day.
I saw a real beautiful girl here today. Well, she was the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
Did you get her name?
Nah, I didn't. I just kept walking. So, I'm kind of shy, bro.
I know, man. I get you. Next time, right? Next time.
All right, I'll see you later.
But he was never really able to talk to her. As soon as the conversation was over, they said their goodbyes and went on their usual day at work. A few minutes after Philip arrived to his office, his 9:15 appointment arrived. A man by the name of Mr. White shows up to discuss a business offer he had for Philip. After listening to Mr. White's offer, Philip did not feel comfortable with Mr. White's request and declined it. Filled with anger towards Philip, Mr. White curses him, causing him to feel sick.
And what does that supposed to mean? Alright.
The moment that Mr. White leaves the office, Gaston walks in and notices that Philip does not look very well. Philip then walks out of the office and drives back home without giving his friend any explanation as to what was happening to him. While driving home, Philip starts feeling very ill. When he finally makes it home, he collapses.
How was your car?
Excuse me. He collapses into his butler Lumiere's arms, who then carries him inside into his room and onto his bed. 3 days of being in a deep sleep, Philip finally wakes up and calls his butler into the room, trying to find an explanation as to what had happened.
What happened last night, man?
Sir, you've been sleeping for 3 days.
His butler, having no answer to his question, said they had no idea. They had been sleeping for 3 days. Soon after getting up from his bed, Philip goes to look at himself in the mirror and finds himself looking at a horrible monster's reflection, full of burns and bruises and scars that covered half of his face.
Yo, how did this happen, man? This cannot happen in 3 days. 3 days, work, home. That's it. What the hell happened?
I don't know, sir.
A few minutes after, his friend Gaston rings the bell.
Ding dong.
And Philip quickly tells his butler
Get away.
telling Gaston to come inside his room. As soon as Lumire opened the door, Gaston found his way through.
What's wrong with you?
As soon as
It's just
Gaston
like
saw
minor
Philip's
setbacks
face,
there, buddy.
he freaks out
No,
and
he
felt
don't-
disgusted.
No, don't go. No, go, man. What are you doing? Where you going? Where you live, man?
Not me.
Have mercy, come on.
Have mercy for men, not monsters.
Gaston then goes back to town and tells everyone what he had seen, turning everybody against Philip and quickly taking over his business. After months passed by, Philip got tired of being isolated from everyone and asked his butler to put an announcement in the newspaper looking for a new assistant. At first, no girl showed up to the interview, but after a few tries, a beautiful girl by the name of Belle showed up at their door.
So, how do you feel applicable for the job?
Well, I've been working for a while.
You're hired. That's it. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Start working over there.
Lumiere quickly knows that Belle will be the perfect girl for the job and hires her. First task that Lumiere gives Belle is to go into the library and organize anything that seems out of place. When Belle walks into the office, she didn't notice that there was someone sitting in the chair in front of the fireplace. But soon after, she notices that it's Philip, and they introduce each other.
Hello, I'm Belle, the new assistant.
So you're the new assistant.
But as soon as Philip gets up from the chair and shows his face, Belle is very surprised at how deformed his face
Don't be
was.
afraid of this. This is nothing.
What happened to you?
Long story.
She quickly realizes how good of a person Philip is and decided to hear what he had to say.
Very, very long story. Just came back from work.
After a period of time of working with Philip and getting to know each other, Philip and Belle started to develop feelings for one another. Meanwhile, back at the office, one of Gaston's fellow co-workers walks in and tells Gaston,
Did you hear about the Isabel girl walking at the glass mansion?
after seeing the picture in the newspaper, Gaston realizes that the girl working for Philip was the girl he had been daydreaming about ever since the first day he had walked into her. Filled with anger and envy, he immediately went over to Philip's house. When Gaston gets to Philip's house, he sees him and Belle about to kiss. Gaston quickly takes out his gun and shoots Philip, which quickly falls on the floor. Belle tries to pick him up unsuccessfully and cries over her lover's dead body. Gaston realizes what he has done and quickly runs out of the room. He is haunted with the death of his best friend for the rest of his life. The end.